My name is Robert L. Shephard, S-H-E-P-A-R-D. I was in the U.S. Navy 4 years. 2.5 years was in Korea. Let's see. I was in the underwater demolition team for 2.5 years, and then I went and when I first went in the service, I was in San Diego and learning how to be a underwater demolition man, and we had to swim every day, and a couple of days we had to swim 20 miles out to an island out of San Diego. And then after that I went on a cargo ship up to Alaska, and we fed them all their gas and oil and all their food and stuff that they needed. And we was there for a month, and I'd seen half a day of sunshine. After that, we went back, and I ended up getting on an aircraft carrier, the USS Antietam, can't say it right. And then I was on there for 6 months or something like that. And then I went to another aircraft carrier, the USS Barocco, and I spent 6 months on that one, and then decided to go into the Underwater Demolition Association. And then we learned how to swim and all that stuff the way we're supposed to swim. And we got through there. We went to Korea, and we started swimming on the east coast at Wonsan. And was it Wonsan? Yeah, I think it was Wonsan. And then we reconned every beach around to the south of the islands, and then up the coast on the west side, clear up to Incheon. Okay, then we done all the beaches around South Korea, getting the depth charts of what the land was under the water. We'd measure it and put it on a sheet and everything, so they know the depth of the water out to probably 5,000 feet away from the land. And we done that up around the whole South Korean peninsula. And then after that, we had a lot of swimming. We was swimming on the beach, and we got land in there. And when we was in there, they still had guerrillas down in the south when they went by there, and they shot up a bunch of our people. And it kind of hit me a little bit too, so we was pulling this one guy into the craft, and then they shot 3 or 4 bullets, and this one kid that got killed would come up up his back and hit me in here. Yeah. And then he hit another kid over here in the elbow, which it was 2 of us who was pulling them. And I was up over the deal like that, and it hit my hip. And of course they can't see the movement. But then I ended up in the hospital and went over in Japan for about a month to get cleared up. And then they sent me back to the States for 2 weeks vacation, and then back over to Japan, and then they took me back into Korea, where we was going up to the north and blowing up tunnels and bridges and stuff like that, and using us as commandos at that time, because they didn't have any in the service at that time. And we almost hit a train once, got a train out of it. He just got out of the tunnel and when it blew up. And then most everything else is just normal duties, in Korea, where, well, we used to take and get the mines that they've planted, get them out, and we had to stop it from being active. We'd have to pull a unit out that made it go off. And what there was, this particular type was a type that they set it up where so many ships would go over it, like 8 or 10, and then the 11th one would get hit with it would blow up and get that ship. But usually they tried to get the big destroyers, not destroyers, but darn it, get battleships and the aircraft carriers, what they wanted to get mostly. So that's why they timed it for a certain amount of ships to go over. Usually they have the destroyers and cruisers and stuff around the aircraft carriers and the battleships, so they have to figure out how many ships was ahead of the aircraft carrier and the battleships and stuff, so that it would hold it a second. Okay. Well, when we was swimming, we'd swim out, probably 300 yards or so, and get the depth of that, and then work our way in every 50 feet. We would check it another time to see how much gradient was, how much fall was in the water from up to the bottom of the ocean up to the top of the water, which was, a lot of them was real fast. It would go down 45, 50 feet and within 50 feet, and so it's just one of those things. It's hard to remember all of this because it's been so many years ago, but I really enjoyed it out there. And when we was on that trip going up towards Pyongyang, they stopped the ship and let us go ashore, and up on this one hill there was a big apple tree, and delicious apples. It was really good, and we got a few apples brought back to the ship and stuff, and then we just went back down out the river and back down to Incheon. We usually parked right out there, and we could hear the battleships shooting shells over to Seoul. And the battleship was out, probably 7, 8 miles from where we was. And we was right in by that one island I was talking about. And you could hear them things going over like that. The shell, the mechanism that they was using because they're big 14-inch guns, or cannons that they're shooting out there. So, and it was a very interesting deal. And one time when they had the invasion going, there was one of the enemy was running across this causeway from this island, and they shot him with a bazooka, and there was nothing left of him. And there was a lot of other things. We used to have to pick up some of the dead soldiers, like our Marines and stuff, out of there, and that got killed, and so they could, get them back to the States and stuff. So, I guess that'd be about all I can tell you that I can remember anyway. So I just hope that it's enough to let them realize what I actually. Okay, what we was underwater demolition, the Frogman, a sequence that ended up being the SEALs of the present time. How's that? And it was late December in '49.
And what, and you were 18?
Huh? I was 18 at the time.
And what year did you get out?
4 years later.
So 4 years, okay.
It'd be 50 and be 54 when I got out. Because they give me an extra year in there. I was already sent to Tokyo, and they come back and got me and said, you just got another year. Truman give me another year.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had 4 years of service. I went in for a 3-year term, and then they added a year. So I guess they thought I was doing pretty good.
Is there anything that you would want to say to future generations about this time that you served, or anything that you experienced that you think is really important for them to know?
Well, the most important thing is for them to realize that when you're in the service, you have to go by what other people tell you to do. You know, like the officers, they're in command, and you have to follow their initiatives. And I was a petty officer when I got out of the service, so when petty officers get the lower rated, like the ensign, not the ensigns, but JV, or I can't, making a mistake there. Oh, the lower class ones, you know, which was first class petty officer, second, I was a third class petty officer, which was then you go into the master petty officer, which is fourth class. You're up one more notch. And then you go into chief from there up into the thing. So.
All was in ROTC.
But the best thing for anybody that's going in the service is to realize that you're not the boss anymore. Not until you get old enough and have enough experience. And if you end up being an officer, then you have more authority. But otherwise, you have no authority at all. They tell you what to do, and you do it. And that's where a lot of people make their mistake. They can't take instructions. I pretty near got in trouble on it one time because one of them guys done something to me. He hit me, and I hit him back. So they put me on where they had to go to the captain, you know, and be penalized or something. I asked the captain, I said, well, do they have the right to hit me? What do you mean? I said, he hit me first. And I said, it hurt. Hit me right here. And I said, I just automatically hit him. I said, it's just one of my things that I do. I said, I don't let anybody hit me, because if they hit me, they get hit back. And the captain, he told me, he said, well, he said, I guess you're right. I said, you're okay. Well, you're going to be on board ship, and for that you're on where you're being penalized for a month. But we was on the ship all the time. We was going over there. But I told him, I said, I'm sorry that I had to do that, but I said, he tried to take my wind out of me, you know, and thought he was going to do it, and I took it out of him. So things like that, you know, happens, and I have a kind of a temper anyway, you know, or did have anyhow. And when he hit me, boy, I just automatically kapow, laid one on him.
What would you say to young people who are studying the Korean War? What things about the war do you think are important for them to know?
Well, the biggest thing was the land troops. You know, they're the ones that it depends on what they are, whether in the service or what they are, you know. And you have to be very cautious especially when you're doing them beaches. And we was doing them in North Korea too, some part of it. We start right at just above the border and work down. And the best thing to do is just be very careful and watch what you're doing. And I was over there on one beach, and I'd been swimming all day, and about 30 below zero. And I got up on the beach, and my legs was cramped up so bad I couldn't even walk. they had a couple of guys take me back out to the landing craft, and I couldn't even swim. It was that hard to work, you know, and it just, I don't know, it was just one of those things that it happens. Your legs just get cramped, you know, and it was one of the worst time I've ever had with a cramped leg.